Listen to this for a second. Chiefs Kingdom. For the first time in more than a decade, Kansas City football ended a season not with confetti, not with a parade, not even with a playoff game on the calendar, but with questions. Big ones. The 2025 campaign wraps at 6-11, a record that still looks strange when you say it out loud for a franchise that spent the better part of the last 10 years redefining dominance in the National Football League. And yet, even in a year filled with frustration, injuries, and uncharacteristic losses, one thing stayed familiar. One thing stayed constant. Patrick Mahomes was still the heartbeat of this team. This is a season that will be remembered not just for what went wrong, but for what it revealed about the Kansas City Chiefs, about resilience, about leadership, and about how thin the margin really is in the NFL. And it all came to a grinding halt in Week 15, under the bright lights against a division rival, the Los Angeles Chargers. Late in a tight, physical game, Mahomes scrambled, doing what he's done 1,000 times before, extending plays, bending defenses, making the impossible feel routine. Then it happened. Contact. A twisted leg. Silence. Followed by that unmistakable sight no fan ever wants to see. Their quarterback down, not getting up. A torn ACL and LCL in his left knee. Season over, 9th year cut short. The Chiefs lose 16-13, but the bigger loss was felt far beyond the scoreboard. Mahomes underwent surgery shortly after the game and immediately began the long road of rehabilitation. And let's be clear, this wasn't just another injury report footnote. This was the face of the franchise, the play-calling leader of the offense, the engine of a modern dynasty, suddenly forced to watch from the sideline. The Chiefs limped to the finish line, and for the first time since 2012, January football in Kansas City didn't include playoff prep. But here's where the story takes a turn. Despite the record, despite the missed postseason, despite the injury, the Chiefs announced Patrick Mahomes as their team's most valuable player for the 2025 season. And if you watched this team week in and week out, that announcement didn't surprise you one bit. In 14 games, Mahomes threw for 3,587 yards, 22 touchdowns, and 11 interceptions, numbers that may look modest compared to his own sky-high standards, but numbers that tell a deeper story when you dig in. This was a heavy usage year, a year where the margin for error was razor thin, a year where Kansas City leaned on number 15 to keep games competitive while the roster around him searched for consistency. Former quarterback and analyst Trent Dilfer put it this way: stats don't tell you how many times Mahomes saved a busted play, or changed a protection, or turned a negative into a positive. Kansas City doesn't win 6 games without him. They might not win 2. That's the reality. Even in a down year, Mahomes' presence elevated everyone around him. To understand why this moment matters so much, you got to zoom out. You've got to remember where this franchise has been. The Kansas City Chiefs aren't just a recent success story. They're a historic one. Super Bowl champions from a 1969 season, led by the legendary Len Dawson, a team that helped define the NFL merger era. Decades later, after heartbreak and near misses, the Chiefs climbed back to the top with Super Bowl titles following the 2019, 2022, and 2023 seasons, cementing a modern dynasty under head coach Andy Reid. This is a team that turned Geha Field at Arrowhead Stadium into a weekly earthquake, one of the loudest venues in all of sports, where the tomahawk chop echoes and opposing offenses struggle just to hear the snap count. Mahomes has been at the center of it all. Drafted in 2017, he didn't just change the Chiefs. He changed the league. No-look passes, sidearm lasers, fourth-quarter comebacks that felt inevitable, 2 league MVP awards, 3 Super Bowl rings, countless franchise records. He became the measuring stick. When you compare quarterbacks, you compare them to Mahomes. When you build a roster, you ask, can this stop Mahomes? Even this season, defenses treated him like the ultimate problem. Extra safeties deep, disguised coverages, blitzes timed to perfection. And still, Mahomes found answers. Offensive coordinator changes, injuries along the line, a run game that struggled for stretches, yet the quarterback continued to orchestrate, adjust, and compete. That's what makes the 2025 season so fascinating from a tactical standpoint. Kansas City leaned into quick game concepts, more short and intermediate throws, trying to compensate for protection issues and inconsistent spacing. The red zone, that critical area inside the opponent's 20-yard line, became a weekly chess match. Sometimes the Chiefs won it, sometimes they didn't. But Mahomes was always thinking 2 plays ahead. Defensively, Chris Jones remained a force in the middle, drawing double teams, collapsing pockets, and reminding everyone why he's one of the most disruptive interior defenders of his generation. Yet football is the ultimate team sport, and the Chiefs felt the absence of complementary football, those moments where offense, defense, and special teams align. In years past, Kansas City thrived on that balance. In 2025, it came and went. Still, the leadership never wavered. Travis Kelce, the future Hall of Fame tight end and emotional spark plug, continued to be Mahomes' security blanket, even as defenses keyed in on him. Isaiah Pacheco ran with his trademark ferocity, a physical tone setter in the backfield. And around the league, the respect for Kansas City never disappeared. One anonymous AFC defensive coach said, "You never relax against the Chiefs. Even at 6-11, you feel like one mistake and Mahomes will make you pay." Now, looking ahead, the focus shifts to recovery and renewal. Mahomes has been vocal about his rehab, expressing optimism and confidence that he'll be ready for the start of the 2026 season. And history suggests he will be. This is a quarterback known for obsessive preparation, for turning slights into motivation, for using adversity as fuel. The Chiefs are betting on that mindset as they reset. Bringing back Eric Bieniemy as offensive coordinator signals a return to familiarity, to concepts and rhythms that once powered the league's most feared offense. The AFC West isn't getting any easier. The Raiders will always bring the rivalry heat. The Broncos continue to search for their identity. The Chargers, as we saw, are more than capable of landing a punch. And beyond the division, the road still goes through teams like Buffalo and Cincinnati, rivals who have circled Kansas City on their calendars for years. But here's the thing about the Chiefs. Count them out at your own risk. In pop culture, Mahomes remains a star, from national endorsements to community impact, a face of the league even in a year without playoff football. Travis Kelce's media presence continues to bridge sports and entertainment. The brand of the Chiefs, the identity, the expectation that hasn't changed. Chiefs Kingdom doesn't disappear because of one losing season. If anything, it sharpens the hunger. As one longtime season ticket holder said outside Arrowhead after the final home game, "We've seen the mountaintop. We know what this team can be. And we'll be here when they climb again." That's the spirit that defines Kansas City football. So as we close the book on 2025, remember this. Dynasties aren't defined by perfection. They're defined by response. Patrick Mahomes, named team MVP in a season cut short, represents the promise of what's next. Rehab turns into readiness. Frustration turns into focus. And the roar at Arrowhead waits, patient, confident, knowing that when number 15 takes the field again, the league will be watching. Stay locked in, Chiefs Kingdom. The comeback stories are always the loudest.